This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by the good folks over at ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. Kick into your weekend by stocking up on all your favorite properly tested, packaged, and labeled legal marijuana products by opening up ease.com, spelled E-A-Z-E. Assuming you live where Ease is active and that's during legal delivery hours, you're just minutes away from getting your order in less than an hour from taking delivery. What a world we live in. Save yourself the drive to your favorite local dispensary by opening up ease.com. Ease only works with the top shops in their active areas, so you know you're in for a great customer experience. One more time, that's ease.com. Big thanks to everyone at Ease for supporting today's news. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Friday, October 19th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 595 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. We kick off this week's final day of news, as we seem to be doing so often these days, with a story about a rather large industry acquisition. This time it's iAnthus Capital Holdings scooping up MPX Bioceutical in an all-stock deal valued at $835 million. As Deb Borchardt over at Green Market Report is reporting, this is the first time in the United States that a public legal marijuana company has bought another public legal marijuana company. iAnthus is based in New York and has operations in 6 U.S. states, including Florida, Colorado, Massachusetts, and New York. MPX Bioceutical is a vertically integrated company with cannabis dispensaries and cultivation and processing facilities in both the U.S. and Canada. Swing over to Deb's story on Green Market Report for all the other details and numbers. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. New numbers out of Colorado show that state's legal cannabis market is healthy and chugging along quite nicely. According to the latest revenue stats from the Colorado Department of Revenue, Mile High dispensaries sold $1 billion of marijuana at the quickest pace since legalizing adult use 4 years ago. Total sales for both adult use and medical cannabis in Colorado totaled $1,022,245,511 for the year through August, which generated around $200 million in sales tax for the state's coffers, to say nothing of all the money that's been not wasted busting people for cannabis crimes. This is another good one to open up in full, as the stats include some informative breakdowns on product and category type. While sales of cannabis flower have been relatively stable, concentrates and edible sales have continued to rise at a sharp clip. Deb Borchardt grabs a top stories 2 for today with a piece about the approval that Aurora Cannabis just received to start publicly trading on the New York Stock Exchange. Aurora Cannabis is one of the larger Canadian licensed medical marijuana providers and will start trading on the New York Stock Exchange on October 23rd using the symbol ACB. Aurora currently trades on a Canadian OTC market that it will voluntarily delist from ahead of its move down south to New York. Deb has some good background on cannabis companies trading on the NYSE, with just a few public companies purporting to be involved in legal cannabis, and even fewer than that actually having cannabis as their main line of business. Lots of good stories that you should read today. This is the third of 3 so far. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. Ease is super proud and excited to be supporting the very cool Bloom Farms 1-for-1 program, where Bloom Farms donates 1 meal to a local food bank for every single product they sell. Buy a vape cartridge from Bloom Farms, that's a donated meal. Get a Bloom Farms Purple Kush hand roll pre-roll, that's a donated meal. Anything that you buy from Bloom Farms turns into a donated meal. So far, Bloom Farms 1-for-1 program has donated more than 1.3 million meals to food banks in California and Nevada. Swing over to ease.com and find Bloom Farms if you want to help out, or peruse any of the other great products up for offer. That's ease.com, spelled E-A-Z-E, where you can not only get legal cannabis products for delivery, but also help to do just a little bit of good for the world. It all adds up. Thanks to ease.com for supporting today's news, and to Bloom Farms for their 1-for-1 food donation program. All right, time for the Blitz. Yesterday, the state of Michigan issued 13 more legal medical marijuana business licenses ahead of the October 31st deadline by which Michigan dispensaries have to be licensed or closed down. Regular listeners should remember this storyline for the bouncing deadline that's been moved around a few times now by the Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs. Michigan regulators will meet one more time on October 29th to squeak in one last round of approvals before that deadline. Right now, there are a few hundred applications still awaiting processing. Speaking of approving business licenses, the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission met yesterday and gave the final nod to 2 marijuana testing labs, in addition to a handful of new adult use dispensaries. This opens up the full pathway for legal adult use to make its way from soil to customer, so Bay State adult use consumers should start to see adult use dispensaries opening up sometime in the coming weeks. North Dakota will start accepting applications for medical marijuana patients and their caregivers starting on October 29th. Applicants will be required to fill out and mail off a paper application along with a $50 annual fee and a recommendation from a doctor attesting that the applicant has a debilitating medical condition. North Dakota says it's working to get 8 licensed dispensaries open by the end of June. There's an interesting storyline in the works down in Florida where today Governor Rick Scott has until 5 p.m. to decide whether to appeal a standing court order to issue additional cannabis business licenses. This is a bit of a convoluted story that we've touched on before that I would recommend you open up. At play here is how Florida structures its legal cannabis industry. The judge's order would greatly increase the number of licensed businesses. This one is worth keeping an eye on. Marijuana Business Daily is a good story catching up on how things are going in Southern California's legal marijuana markets, which by reports are seeing product shortages, declined sales, and strong illicit market activity as licensing and other logistical snafus have challenged legal players. This is another good one to dive into fully. Lots of lessons hidden in all that chaos. Heading up to Canada for our last 2 stories of the day and the week, we have Vice reporting that the opening day's excitement over Canada's newly legal adult use market is causing some supply shortages. That's pretty understandable, seeing as most of the country's legal dispensaries have seen lines of customers waiting hours outside their doors to get in. Our last story today is an analog to one that we've seen happen here in the United States before, as a smart and entrepreneurial 9-year-old girl guide, which is the same as the Girl Scouts down here in the US, dragged a few cases of cookies out to a legal cannabis dispensary located in Edmonton, Canada, and sold out her entire stock in less than an hour. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again Monday morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Ease, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in, starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.